Hey there traders, thanks for joining me for this free video from thestockbandit.com. We're going to take a look at the indices here, kind of where we've been, where we may be headed as we get ready for a brand new week of trading. So last week we saw the market move a little bit lower, and yet that's constructive price action. As traders, we got to remember that a higher market doesn't mean it's good, and a lower market doesn't mean it's bad. What we've got to do is eyeball the price action, take note of the characteristics of how the market's moving, and then see if it's worthwhile, see if it's doing things that it ought to be doing. So let's start off here with the NASDAQ. So last week we were coming off the previous week where we saw a test of this 2600 area on that Wednesday. We saw a big gap higher on Thursday and a run right up here for the NASDAQ up to this 2740 area. We closed just beneath that. And then on the previous Friday, we saw this small inside day where we were just down fractionally, and that's kind of how we ended the previous week. Now, last week we gapped down on Monday and went lower. We gapped big to the downside on Tuesday and went lower once again, but we held 2600. So we created a couple of new gaps, but we came down and tested another important level. Well, Wednesday and Thursday we rallied up again. We filled this gap right here from Tuesday, and now we're facing this level right here, which is 2705. Now, short term, that's not been a real major level, but when you zoom out a little bit here at this 2705, it's an important level. We tested it in February. We tested it again in April. It was resistance for most of the month of June. And then now we're contending with that same level here. So 2705 is big. If we get through there, then 2740 is right up here. And that's going to be an important level on a closing basis. It was some support here in mid-July. It was some support here in late May. And then we saw this gap right here, which obviously took some time to get filled, but it really began from that same level. So that's where we are for the NASDAQ. We've got 2705 and then 2740, and we're for now holding 2600. So that's good. And we also saw a pullback, which was bought. So overall, we've kind of been putting in some lateral price action here for the past several weeks. But overall, the dip buyers are still present. They're still stepping in to buy weakness. And that bodes well for this market as we head into the end of the year, especially when you consider the likelihood of a return to these October lows between now and the end of the year. It's really diminishing the longer that we're able to hold up here and kind of maintain the progress that's been made recently. Okay, up next, S&P 500. We've got 1208 down here, and we pulled back last week. We almost tested that area. We got to 1215. But this yellow line right up here, that's the big level. The prior week we ran right up to this 1294 area. That's a big zone. We tested it right here in July, and it held. It was resistance for much of June. We had this pullback right here in April, right there on the 18th. And then we also had this pullback right here to the 1294 back here in February. So we've got multiple occasions where 1294 has proven important. And that's going to be a big level here as we see the S&P continue to try and work its way back up. So holding short-term level right here at 1208. We're kind of dealing with this 1258 that was June support, and it posed as some short-term resistance a couple of weeks ago. It's kind of what we're currently sitting just beneath, but if we get through there, 1294 is the next big level for the S&P. Let me move on to the Russell before I hit the Dow. Russell came down last week, tested this 718. It got briefly below it, but only for a day. And then it rallied back up. It filled Tuesday's gap. We still have an unfilled gap here from Monday. That goes up to the 761 level. And then beyond that is going to be this 772. That's a big level. We stopped just shy of that 2 weeks ago. We had support there in June. We had a pullback there right here in March. And then we had other occasions earlier this year where we held that same level. So you can see just how big this level has been, mostly as support, but now it's serving as some resistance. We're going to have to get through there for the Russell to continue strengthening. But for now, this is still pretty good price action. We've established the 718 area as a resistance zone, and now we've kind of pulled back and tested it. We're kind of in this range between 718 and 772. So that's where we are for the Russell. And then finally for the Dow, this index last week saw some sharp pullbacks on Monday and Tuesday, but it really just came down and it tested this 11,650 area. That was some short-term resistance that you'll probably recall from here just about 3 weeks ago. And so now to see this index pull back and test that from above and hold it, that's encouraging. So we rallied from there. We reclaimed this June low that we've been kind of dealing with right in here. That's the 11,860 zone. And now the next stop is going to be right up here at the recovery high for the Dow, 12,284. So pretty good constructive price action, and a lot of bullish charts really starting to set up out there after seeing this market move higher with a nice lift off the October low and then putting in some good solid rest, something that we really haven't seen since back here in July. Okay, so definitely better technical picture starting to shape up. Let's see where we go from here. But thanks for joining me for this video. I will be back soon with more, but in the meantime, trade like a bandit.